Hey folks, it's another video on piracy that I'm sure many of you don't want to hear. I'm going to kind of drop away from SOPA and people a little bit, and just a little bit. I don't know how many people want to hear from me. I know that my opinions weren't the most popular, mostly because I think a lot of people didn't understand my opinions, to be honest with you. But let me see if I can't clarify a number of things that I was talking about. And I would ask and implore that you actually listen to the whole video before commenting on things, as difficult as that might be, and see if the things are brought up that you might have in question. Um, I guess the first thing that I kind of wanted to go over to it is how big of a problem piracy has become and why it's our responsibility to stop it. I keep hearing a lot of things about how to stop piracy and how to combat the war on piracy and things like that, but very few people are taking the most obvious approach. Don't pirate. It's as simple as that. Take responsibility for your actions and don't pirate. Now, a lot of people don't want to hear that. Are there exceptions? And I guess I'll go over that first because, it was a big thing. I think there are exceptions to piracy. For me, piracy is about giving the intellectual copyright holder the earnings that they deserve, giving them something that you're giving them money for a service that they provided to you, even though it was coming up with a digital copy of something. And that's what I think it really comes down to. And when you pirate, you're basically telling them that, I'm entitled to own this even though I didn't pay for it. I am for some reason special, and I don't need to pay for what you gave me because I know how to get around it. The exceptions where I see is I've already gave mine that, if the material that you're looking for isn't obtainable, that to me that's a pretty good reason that your copyright holder would want you to experience their thing if you couldn't obtain it otherwise. To go on the flip side of that, an excuse I heard a lot of was that I can't afford it. I simply can't afford it. What can I do? They wouldn't get my money anyway. It's bullshit. And let's be honest here. All right, that's 2 dislikes there, I'm sure. 3, 4, 5, 6. It's bullshit to say you can't afford it. Because, first of all, if, some of the stories that I had heard on there were, really, really dirt poor. If you've got a computer that's capable of running today's games, guess what? It's a luxury item, and if you're barely scraping by but you've got this powerhouse computers, you may want to start taking a look at your priorities and possibly selling that computer. Um, as far as prices being $50, $60 on launch, no one said you have to buy the game on launch date. Wait a year, 2 years. Most of the prices on games go down pretty significantly, especially if you look at things like Steam sales or something, and that's where Steam has eaten up a ton of my money, and I'm sure a ton of other people's money. Games that I know I could get for free, but I choose not to. And it's really, really important to have that self-discipline. Pirating offers us 3 things that we really, really want. It's free, it's easy, and there's really no consequence to it. That's the problem. That how do you compete with something like that? And it's your own ethics and your own values. As I said, if you can't obtain the thing, and I kind of justify some of my own stuff that if the thing is no longer being developed, an older game, then the intellectual copyright holder isn't making money on it anymore. A flea market is, or, a collector is. And I don't want the tangible product. I want the intangible value inside. An old copy of Chrono Trigger might go for $100 on Amazon, but you're paying for the tangible product itself, not the intangible intellectual property. That's kind of where things get a little bit dicey. I think what a lot of people forget, though, is how bad you're hurting your own image when you talk about pirating. And, how bad it just makes all of us look. Um, yeah, I guess there's just so much I want to say. If you don't have enough money to play some of these games, that's fine. If you just go to Wikipedia and you type in, shareware list of games. You'll find a ton. Open source games, freeware games. There's tons and tons and tons of free games out there that you can entertain yourself with while you save up money. So I really don't agree with the thing that I don't have enough money to buy the games of today. The other one that I really kind of find strange is, well, the game didn't release a demo. So, I wanted to play it first and try it. I kind of agree with it, but I think it's the lazy man's way out, and I think a lot of people know that. First of all, how many times do you actually buy the game after you play the demo? I'm sure many of you do. I would say the vast majority of people, not my viewers, just people out there, do not. And that's a problem. What would be more beneficial is to the company you say, I'm not buying your game, and send an email. I am not buying your game because you didn't have a demo. And if all of the people who pirated sent those letters instead, guess what? The company would probably release a demo on their next game. That was a point taken from extra credits, so I don't want to take credit for that point, but I agree with that point pretty much. That, if that's your reason, that you wanted to try it first and they didn't release a demo, you send them that. The other thing that pirating really does, and what I think a lot of people don't notice on it, is I've heard the other one that, well, I don't support those companies like EA or Activision or any of them. One important thing to know about that, folks, is that when you pirate games, generally there's still a good air around the internet of what games are popular and what games are not. If you boycott the company, and boycotts do work when people actually do them, pirating is not the same as boycotting. Because CEO goes to his shareholders and say, listen, I know we have a loss of profits. It's because these people are greedy. They love me. They really do. They think I'm great here, and they think I'm doing a fantastic job. But these internet kids out there are just greedy. So that's why we're not showing high profits, and that's why we're not getting as many sales. I mean, look at these numbers here, and point out to projections of all types of numbers and all types of things. But if they have, and the shareholders can understand that. Okay, that makes sense to me. Look at all the pirating issue here. He's still doing a good job, and we need DRM. We need to combat piracy. You look at a lot of the companies that are against DRM. CD Projekt Red, Valve has come out with things against piracy, and you look at ones who have done DRM. Electronic Arts, Ubisoft. Square Enix has done stuff, I believe. You look at some of these, one of the big differences between them, folks, publicly traded versus privately owned. Shareholders don't necessarily know the inner workings of the internet. So a shareholder looks at, I'm losing money. I'm losing money when people are pirating. How do you stop it? You put in software to stop pirates. Companies like CD Projekt Red realize, hey, we don't want to hurt our customers. We love our customers and care about it. And it's not even the CEOs of Activision or Electronic Arts. It's their shareholders. They have to answer to their shareholders. When you boycott their product and you say, I'm not going to play this game because I disagree with the way that the company is being run and the way the company is going, I'm not going to pirate it, I'm not even going to play it, I'm going to deprive myself of something that I would like to do. I have the self-control to deprive myself of something I want to do. That takes standing on principles, that takes integrity, and that's what's going to make change. Not pirating stuff and, because then you give the CEOs an excuse. If you hate these CEOs so much and you hate the way that certain things are being run, don't give them an excuse. Don't let them cop out that, it's because of piracy that, we're not doing as well. Another reason I really wanted to talk about this, a number that disgusts me, and if you're a passionate gamer, this number should disgust you. And it should really open your eyes. CD Projekt Red, creators of The Witcher, The Witcher 2, and hosts of goodoldgames.com. I don't think there's too many people out there who hate CD Projekt Red. They've provided free DLC, soundtracks, comic books. They do all this stuff, from The Witcher 1 to The Witcher 2. They listened to their fans. They made all these changes, and I really felt like The Witcher 2 did a great job of giving gamers something different, but is still a great adventure. And they really made an excellent game. In an interview with Joystick, the CEO of CD Projekt Red had made a comment that disgusted me, saying that, in November of 2011, they had sold 1 million copies and an estimated 5 million were pirated. That's unbelievable. CD Projekt Red, who is a company that we all apparently love, or if you don't know them, certainly I don't think anyone has a real issue with CD Projekt Red. They give all kinds of stuff, and one of the big staples that they run on is we're DRM free. We put this out there, you bought it, please don't pirate us. And how did the gaming community respond? By 5 million pirates, and he was lowballing it. He said, I think that's on the low end, but we'll go with that. That's ridiculous. And that's a problem. And that's what needs to stop. So when I say that I support SOPA, understand what I say when I say that. I don't support the act that was coming out there, that, the government have all this control. I support the stopping of online piracy. And I don't think there are too many good reasons why we should pirate, and I think that we're going to get more done by not pirating. It takes integrity and it takes self-control to do it, and that's what you have to stand up. Gabe Newell of Valve had said something that the way to combat piracy is, we have to provide services to our people that the pirates can't. We have to provide better services. I agree and disagree. The problem is, it sounds great on the surface, but holy shit. Is this where our morals have sunk? That we expect to be rewarded for being a legitimate buying customer? We want something extra for being a legitimate buying customer? That doesn't seem right to me, folks. That seems really piss poor. That have our morals sunk to a point that we expect to be rewarded for being legitimate customers. And even then, what can you give in an online, when everything is digitally traded, what can you really give? What services do you better provide? Better sales, better, not all companies can do that. And also, to make a point, folks, Valve is privately owned. So it's a little bit easier to have control over your DRM and have control over piracy things when you're not answering to shareholders. I do want to make that point because I do think it's important. A big problem that we've run into, folks, is that shareholders are in control of a lot of video gaming. Video gaming is a lucrative business. There's a lot of money to be made in video gaming, and people realize that. People who have no idea anything about video games realize that. So you've got to answer, CEOs and CFOs and everyone has to answer to these people that don't know a lot about gaming and who aren't passionate and who don't care about gaming. They just care about their money. So, hey, piracy is a big problem. Bam, slap it with more DRM. This is what you have to do. This is what you expect. If you don't like it, we'll find someone else who does. That's the problem. And so you combat that type of mindset by not pirating. Don't give them an excuse. I don't really know how much more is to be said on this. On my forums, I'm more than happy to discuss with any of you this and give more of my viewpoints. But I guess my whole summed up argument is, folks, understand that piracy is an issue. Understand that piracy is a growing issue that we can combat by simply not participating in it. It takes a lot of self-control, and it takes a humbling, so to speak, that I know I can get pretty much any game I want for free. I have all the tools and techniques to do it. But I'm going to choose not to because I haven't earned that game yet. I haven't earned it yet, and so I'm not going to do it yet. I'll wait. And, trust me, folks, as a homeowner with a car and everything, payments suck. LPs are expensive, and I've been fortunate enough that people have purchased games for me. And, I know not all of you have that, and I'm always thankful, and it's very fortunate for me. Not everyone has that, but that's something I've earned. I feel like I've earned it because it's been gifted to me. When you go to piracy, though, you're not earning it. And you're basically saying that, fuck you, copyright holder, and not just CEO at the top, fuck you, lower developer. I'm entitled to your product because I know how to get it for free. That's not right, folks. you need to really, I don't want to say look inside because it sounds cheesy, but you need to humble yourself and realize that I haven't earned it yet. And that's really tough to do. It's really tough to know that you can get it really quick, really cheap, really easy, cheap being free, but I haven't earned it. And so I'm not going to get it. Maybe when the price comes down, I'll get it. Maybe I'll get it on Steam sale and get some great, $50 game for $10. Maybe I just have to wait 4 years, 3 years. And meanwhile, there's tons of great free games out there that I can't get this one and it sucks, but I'm sure there's another one I can play. We have to humble ourselves out of this entitlement that these games are ours, because we need to respect the people who spent hours and hours of their lives putting time into it, and to make it, and don't piss on them. If you don't like the way that things are being run, use piracy as a last resort, not as a first resort. That's all I'm saying in my speeches that I think a lot of people seem to disagree with, because a lot of people feel entitled to downloading games that they haven't earned. So I guess, earn your games, so to speak. Earn that intellectual property. And if you can't do it right away, maybe wait on it. Meanwhile, there's tons of great stuff out there that I'm sure you can find. And there's a number of great free games out there and a number of great old games. GoodOldGames.com has great sales, and I've picked up a number of free games from them. They said, hey, here, take it. Our gift to you. That's what we should support. Look at piracy as something that should be blacklisted. We shouldn't look on pirating as, yeah, I just pirated it, big deal. It should be, no, you're hurting my industry, an industry that I care about, the gaming industry. You hurt us all when you pirate. So, folks, hit that dislike button, and obviously, I'm more than happy to discuss any comments or anything like that. I have enjoyed this forum very much. It's probably easier to contact me on my own forums. That way we can kind of go back and forth a little bit more. When it's a whole stream of comments, it gets really tough to see. Tiny.cc/Toegoff there. Yeah, you will have to make an account, but I'm more than happy to talk with any of you about it. And I hope you take the words that I said to heart, and I hope a lot of them made sense, and just try to realize, folks, that you're hurting more people than you think when you pirate stuff, especially new AAA games. You're not just hurting the people at the top, and you're not entitled to those games. You've got to earn them. So, folks, as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found it informative, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching, folks.